Computer audio.
Oh, wow. Got it. So let's see here.
LimeVibe, come let me lime, come let me vibe. LimeVibe, come let me lime, come let me vibe. LimeVibe, oh, LimeVibe.
So good night, everybody, and welcome once again to another LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, the great one, Yuri Camp from Nassau, Bahamas, along with the beautiful and ever lovely Miss Kimberly Ramkalawan from Trinidad and Tobago. How are you doing tonight, Kim?
Good night. I'm a bit under the weather. I think I got that flu from you on Monday night.
Oh, Lord.
You sent it all the way to me from Bahamas to Trinidad.
Ah, Lord. But I thank you for braving it tonight. Even though I gave you the heebie-jeebies, I thank you for braving it tonight to be with us again tonight, to be with the people tonight, Kim. I appreciate it, man. I hope your boyfriend doesn't find that you've gotten this food for me.
My husband, yes, he's going to. So you're the cause of this.
Oh, Lord. I'm giving you the flu all the way from Nassau, Bahamas. I apologize, Kim. I apologize.
Inter-island transport has gone virtual.
Yes. We're going to talk about inter-island transport, actually. We're going to talk about intra-Caribbean transport. Because apparently, some aerospace engineer wants to revive Liat. You believe that? Can Liat come back?
Yeah, I believe it should. It ought to, because it was what we had, for many years. I remember my aunt, she lived up the islands in Dominica and Grenada, St. Thomas, and Aruba, and Liat was her airline to travel throughout the Caribbean. Whether it was efficient, that was always something. There were always delays. There was always something up with Liat. But I mean, it depends on who is involved, and I'm confident if the right stakeholders come on board, we would see some positive change. We need that, right?
Yes.
It's really, really horrible what's happening with inter-island transport. Our Caribbean nationals having to suffer and pay a pound and a crown, an arm and a leg, as you would say in Caribbean, in the Caribbean tongue dialect, having to pay that much just to go from one island to the next,
Yeah.
Maybe we ought to bring back that the canoes that the Amerindians probably used to travel.
Oh, Kim, you're being facetious. Oh, stop it, Kim. maybe it would work. Bring back the canoes.
Sure, you have a little taxi service like that. All right, we're gonna row our way up to Grenada, row our way back up to Antigua, and brave the rough seas.
Yeah, it was so serious. But on a serious note, though, Kim, it was brought up at the CARICOM heads of government meeting last week as well. The Prime Minister of St. Kitts in Nevis, Dr. What's his name?
That's Philip Kitts. No.
I don't say the wrong name. I don't say Harris, because it's not Timothy Harris anymore. It's another Dr. Terrence Drew. Terrence Drew, yes, Terrence Drew. He brought up the issue that he had to travel in order to get to Nassau, Bahamas. He had to travel to Florida, then travel to Nassau, then travel back to Florida to go back to St. Kitts. And he said that that's something that's the big elephant. I'm using his words, the elephant in the room, that we have to solve Caribbean intra-island travel. And he said it's just embarrassing that we haven't gotten this sorted out as yet. So this aerospace engineer, this Professor John Paul Clark from the University of Texas in Austin, he said it's going to require a political will and a short-term incentive scheme for the government to get the yacht back up and running. So
political will. That means it's all at the feet and hands of our politicians.
And they're the ones who probably driving into the ground.
No, they're the ones that it affects, because they have to travel for business to represent our countries.
Yeah.
I mean, And I remember sitting down with Prime Minister Gaston Brown last year, and he said it cost me almost $20,000 to get to Suriname from Antigua.
Wow.
You know, that's crazy. $20,000 US dollars.
That doesn't sound right.
That does not sound. Yeah, it sounds odd. Too much. And I also saw that they were asking the Caribbean Development Bank to look at some kind of feasible measure and looking at putting forward recommendations to overcome these intra regional travel issues.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, if they've mandated Caribbean Development Bank to explore and examine this issue.
But speaking of Gaston Brown himself, he was the one who tried to save Liat back in 2020, didn't he? He tried to nationalize Liat, right?
Yeah.
So
it takes a lot. I mean, especially when you've got to pay staff and pilots and you know, operations of an airline is no easy feat.
Yeah.
In Trinidad, Caribbean Airlines has always been in the red when it was back. BWI, you know, inherited that. It's horrible.
Yeah, speaking of that, Caribbean Airlines turned their first profit in 2019, actually. I was surprised when I saw it. They turned their first profit in 2019, right before the pandemic. After they've been in operations in 2007, they turned their first profit in 2019. That just goes to show you how difficult running an airline is. And you know something? The Caribbean Airlines aren't any different than when the United States Airlines went through their issues back in the 80s. Remember that? The 1980s issues with, So it all comes down to fuel, and all comes down to load and traffic. How much people can you carry for as cheap a price as you could? And you know, they need to learn from the American Airlines what they did to get United States travel, interstate travel in the United States working, so they can understand what to do after that. But otherwise than that, this Clark guy from Austin, Texas, from the University of Austin, you know, he said that at the same time, Clark said he believed that Caribbean government should work together to attract wide-body, long-haul planes to the region and introduce incentives to allow small carriers to provide connectivity to the various islands. I think it makes sense. You know, get the big planes go. Let's say from between the Bahamas and Trinidad, and get the smaller planes go like between Grenada and St. Kitts, or Antigua and St. Kitts, you know, those small islands back and forth. That makes sense. Get the large jumbo jets going big routes, and get the small.
I agree there.
Yeah. It makes sense.
I mean, if you go to our airport alone, a lot of the travelers are going from the islands. Most of our people are working up the islands, you know. Travel is necessary for work here. And we need to sustain. If you want the CSME to work, you need inter-island transport.
Yes.
All of those things work hand in hand. And we've been talking about it since we started LimeVibe. And that's all in bringing the Caribbean together. Yes. If we want this regional thing to work, if we want all the islands to harmonize and be one Caribbean, we always sing that at the forums. You need to get your business in order. All of these things, you know. Each island stands to gain. I mean, we always want to travel. Most of us don't want to go to our own beaches. We're going to want to travel to Barbados. Barbados has its crop over festival. Some of us, you know, because we want to extend our carnival experience, you're going crop over, you're going Grenada, you're going to the other islands in Lucia. You've got festivals to support each other's industries. Need this. Right? It's only going to work for our benefit in boosting economy, boosting economic activity in the region.
Yes. There shouldn't be any reason why Miami, Florida should get all our money. We should be sending our money directly to these islands, you know.
Exactly.
The only thing that's stopping me from coming to Trinidad right now is because I don't want the hassle. I really don't want the hassle of going to Miami and then having to go back to Trinidad and go. The thing is, going back is the real bummer. Because you have to go back to Miami, to go back to Nassau, and it becomes a real pain in that. And you don't want to do any of that. And so we're not airline experts, and we're not aerospace experts. So we just want to invite and encourage, you know, Prime Minister Drew, as well as all the other leaders in the Caribbean, to actually sit down and consider inter-island travel and get some experts in. You know, find out what they did in the 1980s with the United States Airlines, when all those airlines were going out of business, and they found a solution. and they found carriers that were willing to serve just the southern part of the United States, and they broke it up. And some people were just, serving the northern part of the United States, and some were just for international travel. Find a solution, man. You're human beings. We built pyramids, man, Kim. We built pyramids. Yes, and I still don't know how we did it, but we built pyramids. We built dams and infrastructure. We can do this. We've created an economic system that has lasted for the past 300, 400 years. We could do this.
Yeah. Talking about airline services, I'm hearing that Guyana has even signed an agreement with Air India to allow for travel between those two countries.
Really?
And it stems from an air services agreement, a bilateral agreement that was signed under the Chicago Convention, which allows international air services, to sign on to other countries, something like a convention. So that's going to provide some kind of connectivity from the east to the west. Guyana being a major home to much of the Indian diaspora, same like Trinidad.
Yeah.
And they're looking to establish links there. I'm not too sure if I think there's a High Commission of India in Guyana, just like Trinidad. So they often take care of the Indian diaspora there. So all of that will come in. Yes, there's one in Georgetown. So we'll see. I mean, we heard that President Irfan Ali, he spoke about signing some bilateral agreements to sell blocks to countries like India and Qatar and stuff. So I guess all of those things will be supporting systems for business relations. Here in Trinidad, we've got the Indian Expo running. There's a team that they say last week of the Indian Expo, and they reopen and they stay open for like forever, 3 months going.
Lord. That's good. But one thing I wanted to ask you while we're talking about India, though, why do you think the West, they bypassed India and went straight to China to develop China? And when you have the same amount of ingenuity and technology in India?
Say that again.
Why did the United States and the European countries bypass India to go to China to develop China when India was right there and they spoke English and they have a better connection with India than China does? So why did they skip India and go straight to China?
I don't know. I can't say. I'm not that versed in global history.
Global politics. Yeah. And you can find the same amount of workforce in India. I always thought about that.
I think the technological advancements, the willingness of the people.
You think so?
I think so. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a lot in colonialism. I mean, and they're still trying to come out of it. Poverty runs rampant in India. And
but the same thing was in China too, China had the same problem. Actually, they were worse, It's pervasive poverty to a large degree. Only now that they've invited a bit of capitalism in that they've been trying to bring people out of the poverty gap. But China was just as bad, and India has just as much technology.
I can't say. That's something for the international relations people to dig into the history books.
Maybe we need to get an expert on the panel here to talk to us on LimeVibe on Sunday afternoon. I'll look for somebody. There's somebody with a bit more expertise and intelligence than I have, a bit more know-how than I do, to give us a rundown why these things happen in these global, in these geopolitical spaces. Why did we bypass India to go to China? And clearly China is now...
I think they had used Chinese labor when it came to building their large towers and bridges and things like that. That was like in the 1800s and 1700s. And I think they were probably looking at, the British inhabited India, and they probably said, I think the British had their way in China as well.
Yeah, they did.
But probably they were afraid, I don't know, China trade seemed more lucrative to them for some reason.
I guess so. I guess from time immemorial, the Silk Road from Genghis Khan and the old King dynasty. So yeah, I guess the Chinese Silk Road and the Chinese Silk Trade is still very attractive and alluring to a lot of these Western powers, the Western powers. You know, isn't that a nifty way to say white people? The Western powers. Isn't that just such a clean way a non-racist way to saying white people? The Western powers. And they say it so effortlessly, like we don't know if they're talking about the Western powers. You know? Anyway, I don't want to get myself in any trouble on my LimeVibe podcast. I'm not racist at all, actually. I love all people. But even speaking more about India, Kim, I just saw a story that came across my desk today that in Seattle, they are the first United States city to actually ban the caste system in their city. So Seattle does not have a caste system anymore. It's illegal to practice a caste system in Seattle in the United States. Isn't that amazing? Shout outs to Seattle for doing that. And the first US city to do it. And it seems amazing that they're the first city in the United States to do that, considering that we've had all these successes with affirmative action with African Americans now to just now banning the caste system. And I know the caste system plays a significant part in Indian culture, doesn't it, Kim?
Yeah. And I think because Seattle is home to a large contingent of Indian diaspora settling there. Yeah. They probably saw it as affecting the structure of their society and things like that. Probably it is overwhelming their judicial system or something like that. They're probably saying, okay, we don't want this burdening us anymore. We don't want to have to deal with this anymore, You
think that was it? You think it was you think it was I shouldn't say it was not holistic. You think it was like something that they did out of the goodness of their heart for people?
No, I'm hearing things like it's because of the caste system that the Indians have brought across to the United States. They're saying that the Indians have thrived off it in ways of using it for labor. They brought lower caste workers as labor, cheap labor, and it's not right. It's against the law, and because of that, they said, okay, well, we need to step in and do something. It's wrong.
Yeah.
That when I looked at the story, that's what I summed up.
Okay, that's fair enough. But something, I had a friend, one of my best friends when I was studying in the United Kingdom. His name is Bali Johal. If he's listening tonight, hi Bali. I still owe you that $100, but I'm gonna get it to you. That £100, I'll get it to you. But I remember one time he was sitting in a restaurant and we were having dinner one evening. And it was coming close to closing time. But it wasn't exactly closing time yet. Bali had not finished his meal. And the manager of the restaurant came over to Bali and asking Bali, didn't ask me to leave, he asked Bali to leave. And he was asking Bali to ask me to leave with him. And I said, no, I'm not going an effing step. You get away from me. I'm not going an effing step. Then Bali finished his meal. I said, Bali, what's going on? This is the first time I've ever seen him so animated. Bali, what's happening? So you already wouldn't understand. I'm not leaving this restaurant until I finish my meal. And he could go to hell. I said, wow. And it wasn't until afterwards that he told me, say, something, we have a dirty caste system here where people think that they're better than me. And some Indians think that they're better than me. So I'm in London now. I'm in the United Kingdom. I'm in a free country. I can do what I want. And he shortly finished his meal. And they couldn't do anything with him until he closed the restaurant up. So I was like, wow. I said, Bali, that's amazing, man. I didn't know that. Because, I'm from the Caribbean. I'm kind of ignorant. I don't know about no caste system, right? And so it was like, now I understand it. I'm proud he set up for himself, I'm proud because his family are Sikhs. And they immigrated to the United Kingdom back in the late 70s. And so, he still has that first-hand experience from his parents, telling him about the caste and why they came to the United Kingdom in the first place. And so, I was like, wow. I said, that's amazing, Bali. Just when I thought that Blacks and Africans were suffering, with only people suffering from racism and classism and elitism, there we have the Indians suffering from the caste system, man. But does that play a factor in Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, from what you see?
In my experience in Trinidad, and you even hear it abroad too. The Indians they sought to escape the caste system because the caste system is rooted in the Hinduism in the Hindu religion, right?
Yes. And
many tried to escape it by escaping the religion itself, and many have become Christians. In India, the Anglo-Indians, because they've intertwined with the Portuguese. Also, they carry those surnames. They've sought refuge in churches. They've converted to Christianity in order to escape the caste system. Oh, I'm not a Hindu anymore. But people try to judge you. In Trinidad, it's kind of similar. but it still pervades in a silent manner. I will say it as is, and I often do say it. In Trinidad, there were the indentured laborers came, but we also the Presbyterians came through the Canadian missionaries. Canadian missionaries came, they brought the Presbyterian religion to Trinidad, and they sought to convert the East Indian indentured laborers. It was their way of providing education for them, because many Indians did not get to go to the government schools, and they felt that they weren't being able to preserve their identity with their religion and their practices and things like that. But when they went to the Presbyterian schools, they taught them to sing worship songs in their Indian language, Hindi, in that language. It's called bhajans. You sing bhajans. It's worship songs sung in Hindi, Christian worship songs sung in Hindi. And with that, to me, you still see some caste, because the Presbyterians, they've elevated themselves. If you go to the Presbyterian denominational schools here in Trinidad, they're often the affluent. They've gone up with, they're the ones that often get the scholarships. They do well. They perform well because of the school system and everything. So they often feel they're better than you. I went to a Presbyterian school, but because I am not a Presbyterian, I am not a Hindu either. I'm not a Muslim. I'm what you call a full gospel Christian, born again. And they look down at us. It's like, oh well, you are forsaken your entire identity, and you've gone towards this way. So I'm at the lowest rank if you have to consider it. But it's not outright like, okay, we're going to treat you differently. It's only if you go into their space and their arena as you would feel it outright.
Okay. Wow. Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing, Kim. But so would you say Christianity saved the Indians in Trinidad and Tobago?
Somewhat.
Yes.
There's the Hindu schools as well. So I would say the Presbyterians did a lot for the East Indian population in Trinidad. They provided education for them. They gave them an opportunity to go to school and still practice their, language.
Yes.
So that's one good thing.
Yes.
They are connected to that.
We often bash Christianity and religion, but religion, particularly Christianity in the Caribbean countries, has been a liberating force, if anything, And we say, oh no, the European white slave masters, they brought us up and they gave us their religion. But Christianity has while they use it as a guise to get us over here and to actually enslave us, it actually freed us at the same time as well. So you really can't hate it, And it's good to hear from an Indian perspective how Christianity has played a part in your society, your culture, your subculture inside the Caribbean. But I know, for example, I wouldn't be anywhere without the Anglican Church. They educated me from when I was a toddler straight up to my high school. I wouldn't be a thing without the Anglicans and Catholics. I went to Catholic college when I finished high school. And so I grew up as an Anglican. I wouldn't be anything. This country wouldn't be anything without the Anglican Church.
Yeah.
I would shudder to think the Bahamas without the Anglican Church or the Catholic Church. Maybe get rid of the other denominations, but definitely the Anglican Church and the Catholic Church. We can't have a Bahamas because it wouldn't be developed. It just wouldn't be the same Bahamas.
It's the same here in Trinidad. We've got the Anglican churches and schools. We have the Catholic schools are just as predominant as the Presbyterian schools.
Yeah.
Because we've got the convents and we've got the colleges.
Mm-hmm.
They are top performing schools as well.
Yeah. Private schools, right?
We call them denominational schools in a sense that the church board or the religious sect, they fund 50% and the government funds the other 50%.
Well, that's cool.
But that, you've got it. Right now, there's a contention with what is it they call in the Ministry of Education. Because of that, they have to choose a 20%. 20% from the congregation to attend their colleges, right?
Yeah, they have a quota.
Yeah, so there it's an agreement with the Ministry of Education.
Okay. Keep you guys honest. That's why.
Yeah, so you don't no, a lot of people often use it as favoritism, you know. Let's call it concordat. So it's a signing between the Ministry of Education. A lot of people are calling for the disbanding of the concordat because they don't see it as being fair.
There's a lot of work, actually.
I mean, they should have, I think each denominational school should have the right to select who they want to come to and attend their schools. Yes. It's only fair. You want to ensure that your congregation gets first preference.
Yes, indeed.
They are the ones who are going to come in and worship the way that you worship.
Exactly.
And carry on that tradition as well.
And to tell the truth, Kim, their parents are paying the tithes. Their parents are paying the offerings.
Right. All of that.
Yeah, bit of respect.
They're the ones who are, you know, a big part of the PTAs and you know, ensuring that the fundraisers are done. I know everything is a fundraiser in those schools, though.
Oh yeah, I know. My goodness, man, we were building a pool from since I was in grade 2. Going up to at least when in grade 10, when I was in St. John's College in the Bahamas, we were having a pool fund every year. We were raising money for this pool. But I finally got when I was in grade 10. I never got a chance to swim in it, actually. So it was just like, wow, you know, everything was raising money, you know. And we had a separate fund for the pool. We had a separate fund for the new building contract. And we had a separate fund for the auditorium upgrades. And all these things were coming up, these little fundraisers, these little raffles. You know, these cake sales, these cookie sales, these field trips, you know, $10 here, $15 here. It adds up, man. It adds up.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
And no one could better than Anglican Church.
Government school.
What you say?
I'm glad I went to a government school, an all government school all the way up.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
I'm not one of those. Well, you know, you think when you go to all those convent and stuff, they call them the preppy ones. Yeah. Even if they've got the preppy vibe all over, but no.
Oh yeah, there is some stigmatisms and stereotypes here with between the guys who went to private schools and went to government schools. The guys in government schools are a bit tougher, right? And you know, we were like these soft, preppy little boys, blah, blah, you know.
With the tie, you'll have to wear the tie all the time. Yeah. No, we only wore the ties when we went up to upper 6 A levels. So that, when you went up to lower and upper 6, when you graduated, you got to wear the tie.
We're gonna realize here that in the Bahamas in particular, everyone's ratchet. Doesn't matter what school you go to. I know some people who went to the most expensive high schools there and private schools there, and they just as ratchet as anybody else because the town is just so small. You know, they smoke weed, they drink, and they party just like anybody else. It's just that their family has enough money to bail them out when it's time if they want to. But otherwise, they're just as ratchet. You have just as much fun with the guy who went to St. John's and St. Andrews and the guy who went to CC Sweeten or Government High. The same amount of fun. Actually, may have more fun because they could get you to more places. You know. But speaking of the Indian diaspora in the Caribbean, another country that has a large Indian diaspora is Suriname, right? Yeah. And they're going through it right now. Yeah, well, they're seeing some uprisings in their community. You know, they're dissatisfied with the current political and economic situation there that has been brought on with the Santoki administration. Yeah. So, and they're also attacking journalists too, Kim. Yes, I saw that a release was put out with an attack. I think one of the reporters, the vehicles were set on fire. I'm not sure if it was accidental or so, but we heard of that. So I just want to say on behalf of LimeVibe and Arawak Media and Western Freedoms, who owns LimeVibe podcast, that we stand with the Press Association in Suriname with condemning the recent attacks on these journalists. We stand with you guys because there's nothing like the freedom of the press. And I would like to invite anyone from Suriname to come and sit and talk with us and tell us exactly what's going on in Suriname, you know? Because at the end of the day, you know, if we can't speak freely, then what kind of country do we have, Kim? Exactly. You know, we need to stand for these freedoms. That's why Western Freedoms, the company that owns LimeVibe, you know, that's what it's for. Western Freedoms is free. We are free people. So I don't know what Suriname is going to do to solve this political logjam, this economic logjam that they have, but I hope Prime Minister Santoki actually finds a solution to it because it's starting to heat up again. Because I'm seeing now another old foe in the Santoki administration, this Brano PK. he's one of the activists that was responsible for organizing this recent storming of the parliament. And so, the police have him in for questioning, or they're looking for him for questioning. And, they're saying that he's one of the guys or organizers, along with two other gentlemen who have gone unnamed. But, so this Brano PK gentleman was the guy who was involved in the 2020 uprisings and protests in Suriname. And his name just keeps on popping up all over the place. If you go to his Facebook page, he has numerous videos of him lambasting the Suriname government, the Santokum government. I don't know what side he's on. I don't know if he's with the Desi Bouterse side. But Desi Bouterse is going to be in jail for a pretty long time, from what I understand, because they have rejected his appeal to be released from prison again.
They've got a curfew imposed right now, though I'm not sure how long that curfew is going to last in the capital, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah,
and it's really a sad state. That's going to affect your economy, especially what's happening with the declining value of the Suriname dollar and coming out of the COVID crisis. It's going to really affect your people.
Yeah. But you just visited there last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And there's a lot of similarities there with Trinidad, at least in, the cost of living prices and everything. Actually, I think they're a bit cheaper, except when you convert the dollars, except their dollar value is a lot, more, compared to the US dollar. So.
I don't want to slander Suriname. I don't want to slander Suriname at all. But I was working with the IDB. This is about 10 years ago. And one of the specialists, the financial specialist that was in the Bahamas at the time, he said that they were sending him to Suriname to retire. He was like, no, I don't want to go to Suriname. I said, why not? I said, because Suriname is like a hard case country. It's like a hard luck country. He doesn't want to go there. I say, wow, that's rich considering where you come from. What are you talking about hard luck? You should know what hard life is about, man. Because I always had in my mind that Suriname was this exotic country. I didn't realize it was, when you hear Suriname, wow. When you have of guys like Anthony Nestor, the swimmer, I thought this luxurious, exotic South American country. I didn't realize it was, it was basically 2 steps up from Haiti.
I wouldn't go that far, but it has its challenges, and they came out of Dutch rule and they've got quite a bit of potential, but I think it's their system of governance that they inherited from the Dutch, and they've followed a suit similar, and I think that is what has shaped them to be who they are right now.
Gotcha.
And what they're dealing with. So it's really sad to see what's going on there.
Say what you want to say about the British colonizers. They left us in place a good government, didn't they? Straight across the Caribbean. The Caribbean common law system is one of the best in the world, man. And actually, people from all over the world should come and study these democracies we have in the Caribbean. From the Bahamas to Trinidad to Barbados, the British common law system has been the best government I've seen, outside of the United States. The British common law. There's nothing that stands up to it.
Yeah,
we should be lucky.
You should not have to be afraid to say what you want to say there. No. Should not have to be fear of speech and fear of being who you are. So that's what I would say. I'm looking at it from a Trinidadian perspective on what happened with Derek Ramsey. And even when I was there, they were cautious. Okay, we're not going to let the Trini speak to our president.
Wow.
Because they're going. You don't want. They're going to be triggered by a Trinidadian's presence.
Wow.
And even my friends, my colleagues that came, was like, okay, they came specifically to question and put pressure on the opportunity to question the Prime Minister of the day and CARICOM heads of government. What are you all doing about this Derek Ramsey case? And no direct questions could be given. And I was following it from last year when they had the meeting in Belize.
Yeah.
And I saw how Mia spoke out, and I think that was my first strike with her. And Peter Richards from CMC had asked questions to what are they doing with Derek Ramsey? Why has no one intervened? And they seem to have taken a side with Santoki. and what his government was doing. And I thought that was wrong. And, you know, they had him in jail for so long and his wife could not get in contact with him. So all of that is, you know, stymieing freedom, political freedom, stymieing. Why are you doing that? They thought that he was there as a spy. He went to give he went to do things as a like he went to set up things, you know, strategies against their opponent, and they saw him as a threat. When he's a political analyst and a political advisor, and as a contractor in that sense, I think you should have the freedom to do what you need to do.
Yeah, but a spy otherwise than that. I mean, what's in Suriname to spy on? What are they doing?
You know, beats me. So I mean, we know Derek Ramsmuth. Yeah, he's a political analyst. We see him as harmless. When election times come around, when something political comes around, we call on him to give us his 2-bit on it, to analyze the system. How do you see this playing out? Because they understand politics. They understand how it works. And they look at it from the analytical perspective.
So how long was he in jail in Suriname?
I think almost 2 years.
2 years? That's pretty rough, especially if it was a crappy jail, you know.
Yeah, I mean, no, what was the basis and what was the reason? They weren't even allowing him a trial. They weren't giving him any freedom for a lot of things.
Yeah. I don't wish jail on anybody, man. My worst enemy. I don't wish it on anybody, man. It's rough.
I mean, but they are lovely people. They are the most kind-hearted, willing, hardworking people I've ever met.
I can imagine.
And I mean, I came back home and I was boasting of my Suriname colleagues. And I still do. The quality, the output that they put out for the Caribbean, they've actually won awards internationally for their productions. So all due respect for them, for what they do.
Yeah. I'm not trying to slander Suriname. I mean, I guess I had a different impression of them, you know. And to hear somebody else say they don't want to go to Suriname, I was like, why? Why do you want to go to Suriname? Why not? I would want to go. I would want to visit. You know.
So they're calling on him to resign, but
people don't realize Santoki is a former military guy. You know, he's a former police officer. Yeah. You know, so he's hard. He doesn't have any. You know, he's not going to be moved by get out of office. You know, resign. That's not him. You got to beat him at the polls. You gotta take him out of the polls, man. That's how you get rid of someone like him. And to be honest with you, he's a mildly refreshing face, other than the guy they had before, which is Desi Bouterse, right? And Desi Bouterse was a straight up dictator who they had to rip out of office. You know, and they had to put in jail for crimes against humanity. So try your best to bear with Santoki, man, because the option you had before that. You didn't want that, and you were suffering under that for decades. You know, so try to deal with Santoki, man. That's my take.
They seemed. I don't know if they were all for that person, because I think they were talking about when it's going to a highway that was recently built, you know, leading to the airport. So they said that finished, I don't know, just before elections. Then so it was much welcome development. Happening in Suriname. I can't say, I'm no expert there, but I know it is a beautiful country, has beautiful people, and my heart goes out to them.
Any place in South America that's near to the Amazon forest should be a beautiful country, clean and pristine, and wonderful beaches and wonderful jungles, man. It should be beautiful. I would want to visit there because I like the bush myself. You know, I like the bush. I like this. Like some people like the sea, and some people like the air. I prefer the bush. I don't mind camping out for a week in the woods. You know, I don't mind.
I stayed at the hotel and I saw one of those dragon lizards cross my path, and I just like
a monster lizard, you mean?
It was a yellow, like a mat, but it was huge. A dragon lizard. It looked like a mini gator. And the river, it's not a caiman, but it's more like a lizard because it's sticking out its tongue. The hotel staff said, so I asked, will that bite me? Yes, it will bite you, it will eat you. I just let it go its way because the river is right there, but it's near the hotel.
And they acted kind of normal, didn't they?
They stopped in their part as well, but they're accustomed with it. I don't know if they were trying to spook me.
Right now, that's their pet, you know. That's a hotel pet, you know. They're supposed to show off, you know. That's Toby. Don't mind Toby.
I was thinking about the anacondas and the piranhas in the river. That's what I was most concerned about.
Do piranhas travel that far up north? I thought piranhas was in the southern basin of the Amazon River. I didn't realize they travel all the way up north.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking they might be in the river, right?
Well, that's just your paranoia getting the best of you. Oh, you think piranhas? Oh, Kim, stop. Oh my goodness.
Piranhas and anacondas. Amazon, making his way to your hotel bathroom.
But it would have been a nice sight to see, though, to see the nature, you know?
Yes, I must admit it was beautiful. And rain, I saw how the rain was there, and it's like, okay, I'm seeing it. But I said, no, that's not going to fall here. That's over the Amazon. Okay. Because when I see dark clouds like that, it's going to come to us here in Trinidad. When we see the sky looking like that, you are scared.
Oh, wow. You know?
Totally different. You know, it's different from being on a small island to a different space. I've only experienced New York rain. When you see the sky looking like that, New York rain takes you, a thunderstorm comes down, you see the trees moving.
Yeah.
Wake up to the tree branches falling down on the cars and everything. But yeah.
But it can become annoying though, because nothing's more annoying than London rain. And London is always overcast, it's always damp. There's always a little drizzle of rain every day, you know. And God knows why people don't even carry umbrellas anymore. They just walk in the rain. Because we have to just walk in the rain. I got used to it too, and just walk in the rain. And you don't get sick. You know, just walk in the rain. You have to get where you have to go. Because if you sit waiting in the United Kingdom, waiting for the rain to stop, you're gonna be waiting all day. You're gonna be waiting weeks for the rain to stop. So you might as well just get used to walking in the rain, in the damp. So I know how it is. I've had that experience before. And the Bahamas is the same way as well too. But you know, be kind of prissy here. I got a little prissy when I came back to Nassau. You know, I don't want to travel in the rain. You know, I don't want to go in any rain. You know, I don't get wet. It make me sick. Oh no. But I realized that, you know, it's only in your mind. It's in your mind, man. Get where you have to go.
But we always walk with an umbrella in our places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. We're always prepared. Women always walk with an umbrella. I usually have umbrellas in the car, 2 umbrellas, 1 in my purse.
Because the rain comes down on the clear blue, right?
Yeah, I mean, the morning will be blue sky, and by mid-morning, you see the clouds coming in, and then rains by 1 p.m., 12 o'clock, 1 p.m. Depending on where you are, you know, there's the mountain, there's that rain from the mountains, the hills. So it comes from over the sea, over the hills, and then it falls on the plains in Port of Spain. And Port of Spain floods with 10 minutes of rain.
Wow. It's that bad.
Yeah. Trinidad.
Port of Spain. Port of Spain. So speaking of Port of Spain, though, the carnival was finished. It's finished now, right?
Yeah, it is. So all the people are coming in.
Yeah, I heard the turnout wasn't all that good though, Kim. Like some of the judging stations were empty. Is that true?
A lot of people were, you know, they said it was Carnival 2023 was underwhelming. And I guess a lot of people are still wary about, you know, the COVID and then having to put out that much money. I haven't seen the results yet for the band of the year. So we're waiting on that.
Who are you rooting for the band of the year?
Honestly, there's this band, I think 202 by Peter Elias. He really told a story, and it was not the usual feather and beads and bikini and beads costuming. He had that undergarment, but he gave the intricate details of the headwear and, you know, the cloth. He used a lot of cloth in his costumes, reminiscent of what you would see from creators like Brian McFarlane and Peter Minshall. And I think it was really beautiful. I saw he had about 13 sections in his band. And one of it was the washing. It was so beautiful. It had the cloth tie-dye wings, and you had the beads, and he had some sparkly sections as well. It was really beautiful.
Now, speaking of Peter Minshall, I heard they tried to kill him the other day, didn't they?
Yeah. So what has happened? NCC came, from what I'm hearing, and what was on air. NCC stopped every activity that was on the stage. Told everyone, okay, cut the music, and made the announcement that we have some sad news. And then, the presenters on TV, they went on and said only what they relayed the message, but NCC is not owning up to it. And that's the sad thing. And now
they broke it.
Yeah. NCC is the one who broke the news, and the media house only passed on the message.
Wow. And Peter Minshall had to come back a day or two later and say, no, I'm still very much alive, right?
That happened yesterday evening.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how these rumors get. That's how these rumors cause people a lot of headache and heartache, because it must be funny that you're sitting at home and you're watching flash across the screen, Kimberly Ramkalawan has passed away. Like, what? I'm still here.
Yeah.
But that's just social media doing that as well, Once you see something go viral on social media, on your WhatsApp, and it gets into the hand of the wrong person, that wrong person can send it to their other vulnerable people, and that's going to spread like wildfire.
That was rather mischievous.
Yeah,
it was rather mischievous of NCC, National Carnival Commission, and I think we expect better from the NCC. They're the Carnival Commission. They've got all the mass band leaders and everyone who are connected with each other, right? And I would think that they being the voice of reason when it comes to all things carnival, fall under the National Carnival Commission. You're supposed to verify this. You all went ahead and say it, and the media just carried it. And if we're hearing it from you all must be the verified source.
Yes.
You can't blame the presenter. I mean, I've been a presenter on outside broadcasts like that. And you're in front of the camera like we are right now. You don't have a computer in front of you to fact check. You don't have access to your phone. They would tell you that that's unprofessional for you to be holding your phone while you're on camera talking. You're not going to want to see a presenter doing that. We hold you to some standards.
Yes.
So and then they've got the earpieces. Directors are also feeding you your information. So you've got to blame the director as well. Because the directors behind the scene, they're the ones who can fact check. So that's who I would lay the blame at.
It only takes one fool, just takes one fool in that entire chain of people to create this mess. It just takes one fool to send that one wrong message to the one wrong person, and all of a sudden it goes viral. And that's how these things go viral. It's just like someone who is working in an office. They need to click on the wrong email, and it infects the entire system with a virus. Just open the wrong email without being discerning and looking to see whether or not this email is verifiable and is trustworthy. Just open up any file, and next thing you know, the entire system is down because one person who just wanted to see what was in this email, wanted to see what so-and-so sent them, and download the file, and it corrupted the entire system. All it takes is one fool. I've seen it happen in my WhatsApp chats, my WhatsApp people. I know exactly who has the power to make certain things go viral because they are connected to other persons and they are vulnerable people. I had to warn some of my elderly friends as well. Say, listen, man, don't let these people take advantage of you. They're taking advantage of you. They want you to spread their propaganda. Stop and think about it, man. Double check and verify it. And they've stopped to some extent, but they still send some other stuff too. But they take advantage of these people.
So just imagine that news reached all the way up to the Bahamas.
Yes, it did.
Embarrassing.
No, I'm a strange fellow, Kim. I'm connected. I'm on all these Facebook groups. I watch and I read what's happening. I say, oh, they killed somebody else again, because it happened in the Bahamas about 2 months ago. They killed a former politician as well. And only until his wife came. Yeah.
What's sad is that the company, the broadcasting company TTT is throwing the blame on the broadcaster, who they have termed as an external contractor.
Wow.
And it's really sad.
Yeah. All these people gotta suffer because of one fool, right?
Yeah.
Someone causing mischief. I hope that person's fired though.
I mean, not the broadcaster. I mean, that person is just an external contractor.
Yeah.
It's the directors and everyone else. You all need to at least take responsibility as a team. Just throw one person under the bus and say, hey, we're gonna blame that one person. Take responsibility. Y'all say they're doing it in parables. If you watch a press release on TTT's website, they're saying that they had gotten it from a reliable partner because NCC is paying them money for these broadcasts. So they don't want to throw NCC under the bus as well.
Yeah.
So all of that comes into play, but all of y'all are state entities. Y'all are getting paid with taxpayer dollars for a product that was supposed to be proper. So you all need to take responsibility. That's my 2 cents there. But going to the results, I didn't think the results came out, but I heard that Ronnie and Caro's mass band, This Is Paradise, they came first. Second was Paparazzi with Breakaway Beats, and third went to Lost Tribe with the 202 We. That's the band I was saying that I really liked.
Are you breaking news here tonight, Kim?
What's that?
Are you breaking news here? Is breaking news?
No, it's not. No. It was put out by the city corporation. Obviously, I think by now you'd have heard the road march was given to Bungie Garland's Hard Fet.
Okay.
And second went to Nyla Blackman's Come Home tune. I think third, they said third place went to Olatunji or no, I think third place went to Marshall. He got about 50 plays at judging points.
So all that politics Marshall did before the carnival, he still came up third?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not that much. Honestly, I thought he was gonna come first because I was hearing it everywhere.
Yeah.
But people
politicking to get there, man.
Yeah. And then I kept hearing Nyla Blackman's song, even right by where I live. They've got the village mass. And they have some judging, but I don't know if it impacts the national results. But you kept hearing Nyla's song as well.
Okay.
To me, her song's more autotune. It's more in groovy soca. So you don't expect to hear a groovy soca tune played as a road march tune. Because you want something, fast, upbeat, full of tempo.
Yeah.
To dance and go move the rhythm, on the streets.
Pick up something, anything, run with it.
So that was a Grenadian who sang that, right?
Yeah, it's Grenadian.
But it was quite popular here in Trinidad.
Hell yeah, it was. It reached all the way to the Bahamas. And people were saying that. People were actually trying it, picking up people. I heard across probably Trinidad as well.
I know they had their carnival as well, Carriacou and Petit Martinique. So they had quite a go. They said traditional mass saw a resurgence there as well. Trinidad saw a resurgence of traditional mass. We saw a larger ban when it came to the traditional sailors, the fancy sailors here in Trinidad. A lot of people were going back to the roots of mass with the traditional costumes.
Okay. That's good. But do you think the turnout was as a result of the COVID-19? People still afraid of COVID-19, or it was just that people wasn't that interested this year?
I think it's a big. Honestly, a lot of people were complaining that the pricing for costumes were a little too much, and I think it was a matter of affordability and willingness to put out that much money for a costume.
Wow. How much does the costume go for anyway?
Basic costumes are at least $5,000 to $6,000.
Wow.
That's one person. If you've got to add on the additional headpieces and things like that, you're going to add in an additional $120 to it.
Wow. They didn't have the money to spend.
Yeah.
So are people getting back to work there in Trinidad after the COVID-19? So you guys had it hard, didn't you guys? The COVID-19 hit Trinidad pretty hard, didn't it?
No, people are still. It's really hard. It's taken a toll. You're seeing a lot more people out on the streets, So it's and people aren't hiring. A lot of shops have closed. If you go to our malls, you're gonna see a lot of banded up outlet stores, because people have closed down because they weren't making money during the pandemic.
Yeah. You're gonna find that even here in the Bahamas, it got so bad where our politicians, they signed a mental health bill because they saw so many persons that lost their minds after COVID-19. They couldn't believe that they wanted to lock down, they lost their job, they lost everything in COVID-19. They couldn't take it. They had to pass a mental health bill because the rich elites were starting to see people. There are people now, walking the streets and losing their mind. But me from the valley, I was seeing it every day before COVID-19. I would drive to my house, I'd see, persons who lost their minds and people who are out of their minds and lost their job and lost all hope. I saw it every day. So I was used to it. Now they're seeing it now. So they're seeing it now. Now we have to pass a mental health bill. You should have passed a mental health bill 20 years ago. When we first started to have the issues with the drug culture in the Bahamas, when people started to lose their families because of drugs and alcohol, we should have passed it 20 years ago. But anyway, I'm glad they did it though. Thank you.
That mental health, we need to take that seriously because in Trinidad with the rampant crime, I know how it's impacted me. COVID on top of it. It's given you additional anxiety. Anxiety I never thought I'd see. I look back to how I viewed life pre-2007. That's when kidnappings went up.
I heard that.
And last year, October, we saw a rise in crime. I mean, it was worse. Since 2016, we've been seeing, even my husband was held up at gunpoint while having dinner.
Yeah.
And my family went through a lot. They followed my uncle home from the grocery, just going to purchase a loaf of bread.
Wow.
They beat him up and they stole his van. When you endure things like that, it does affect your psyche. You don't want to go out. You're always looking in your rearview mirror while you're driving, who's following you home. And COVID happened. You have to think about your health and you have to think about your family's health, and you're seeing people dying just like that. And criminal activity plus the pandemic, plus not having a job that pays for how many years. People were enduring unemployment since 2016. A lot of people were sent home. Petrotrin or state oil agency, it closed down. And where I live, it's near to where that facility was, the refinery was. And you've seen where businesses, one of my friends, she died now from COVID, sadly. Her business also closed because they depended on the oil refinery workers to come and purchase food from them daily. So it's been really sad.
Yeah, it's COVID-19 hit hard, man. I've seen it here too, man. I've seen it straight across the Caribbean. People just, they lost hope. But one thing with this though, Kim, I wonder if they realize that God was trying to get your attention, and I hope that God has gotten their attention at least. Because if you didn't see that God was speaking to you, you're out of your mind, and you really need that mental health. God was speaking to you. God told you that He is in control, and He's going to do what He wants. And I hope He gets your attention. You go back and you worship Him and you pray to Him, and you believe that when He says He has enough of you, He has enough of you. When He loves you, He loves you. Because He could have killed all of us. All of us could have gone.
I mean, it has. From 2016, I lost my job with the change of government, and I've had to find work elsewhere. I'm hustling all sides. And yes, it has caused me to think twice, as if I did not take Him for granted. Like I've always, bowed at your throne. That's what you need from me. Going to read a newscast, I always whistled hymns and praise and worship while I was giving thanks. And I guess He wants you to give thanks even in your hard time.
Yes, please give thanks, man. Praise His name. He's good.
Hard times in my life.
Look what He's done. Look what He's done, Kim. In my case in particular, I was in a depression for about 10 years before 2019. From between about 2008, 2009 to about 2018, 2019. I was in a deep depression, man. I was lost. I wasted 10 years of my life just walking around in the days, man. I couldn't believe that I was so numb, that things weren't going my way. And, you know, I was out of a job for most of that time. No one wanted to hire me. I couldn't find a job, couldn't keep a job. You know, no one wanted to be around me. I couldn't find a woman, couldn't find a girlfriend, couldn't find friends. It was rough, Kim. It was rough. I was rejected numerous times, and it just, oh my goodness. And all of a sudden, things just started to pick up in 2018. Things started to pick up. You know, I thank my former neighbors who dragged me to church, who kept on annoying me. And even the one who finally got me to go to his church, even though he was doing it for his own selfish reason, he dragged me into his church, and I found the Holy Spirit again. And I realized I didn't find the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit was always with me. God was always with me. It was just I wasn't seeing it. And so now, you know, I worship every day. I pray every day, man. It's serious. It's serious, man. I went to get my ashes today. I am for Jesus Christ. I'm for God. You know, I'm going to prove myself during this Lenten season, which was yesterday, actually. No, Lenten season started today, Ash Wednesday. For 40 days, we have to prove ourselves that we are worth his time and his love. Even though he loves us anyway, we still have to show that effort that, hey, you know, we are standing up for Jesus Christ and what his sacrifice meant for us on the cross.
Testimony time here on LimeVibe.
Yeah. We preach here too, yeah. We preach, we talk, we teach and we preach.
We're gonna start a new show on that.
Indeed, I may have the religious hour on Sunday afternoons.
We're gonna see Reverend Huey Camp. You
know something? Mom said she saw me being a pastor. She saw me being a man of the cloth. I said, Mom, you can't be serious, man. I am not a man of the cloth. I am not clergy ready. And he said, I see you as speaking to someone who will be speaking to thousands of people. And sure enough, I'm speaking to thousands of people. I will be speaking to thousands of people right now, right? But I don't see myself as a man of the cloth. You know, other persons have said it as well. They say they see me being a preacher. I don't see it. I know myself. I know if God wants to lead me there, he will. He'll put me in that pulpit. But right now, that's not where my heart is right now. God wants me out here in the fields, in the streets. God wants me out here in these streets talking to you, speak.
We'll check you back in 10 years. Your ministry.
10 years? You think so? Maybe, you know. Maybe.
Well, your ministry is starting somewhere. Maybe it's right.
I know. Kim, we've been yapping so long, the hour's gone like that, you know. That's an hour. So, Kim, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Just safe and have a blessed Lenten season.
Yes.
Where you find this time for consecration and find your yearning for God, and it keeps you throughout the rest of the year.
Amen. Amen. Glory to God, Kim. Glory to God. Once again, this is Yuri Camp. I'm your host for the LimeVibe podcast, LimeVibe Live podcast here with Kimberly Ram-Calawan. I also want to say thank you so much for joining us again, and look through our YouTube page and our Facebook page for our previous episodes, and keep up to date with us and subscribe and like these videos. We really appreciate your support. All you have to do is click a like or subscribe to our videos. They help give us a boost. I thank you and I appreciate you guys. So I'll see you again on Friday, again with another LimeVibe Live podcast. So this is Yuri Camp. Good night.
Good night.